Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for the IndiaBiostream's session on EMBO fellowships and funding opportunities. At IndiaBioscience, one of our constant priorities is helping early career researchers discover and navigate career-shaping opportunities. And the European Molecular Biology Organization has been an excellent partner in our efforts towards that. EMBO fellowships are truly among the most impactful, whether you're planning a postdoc, looking to build international collaborations, or simply exploring what's possible in the next stage of your career. Today's session is designed to make all of this a little bit less overwhelming and a lot more accessible. We are happy to have Karine Doomstry. She heads the EMBO Fellowship Program and brings deep insight into how these schemes work, what reviewers look for, and how applicants can put their best foot forward. We are also joined by Jyotsna Singh from BRIC National Center for Cell Science in Pune, who will share her own experience as an EMBO Scientific Exchange Grant awardee. Over the next hour or so, we'll walk through eligibility, timelines, tips, and of course, take your questions. Feel free to drop them in the chat if you're joining through Zoom as they come to you. We'll make sure we can take as many questions as possible after the presentations are done, and we'll try and have all of them addressed. So thank you once again for spending your afternoon with us. I look forward to a very engaging and practical conversation. So with that, I would like to invite Karine and begin her presentation.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation. I'm super happy to be here and to give you a little bit of overview over the EMBO Fellowship Program. I have a presentation that I want to share with you. Let's see. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
We can, yes.
Perfect, good. And so there'll be plenty. I know some of you have already asked really great questions. I'm hoping that my presentation will answer some of these questions, but we also have quite a bit of time after the presentation to answer any questions, yeah? So first of all, I would like to introduce EMBO, which is the organization that I work for. As was noted in the introduction, EMBO is the European Molecular Biology Organization, and it's an organization of leading life scientists. And the aim is to promote excellence in life sciences in Europe and to build a research environment where you as scientists can do your best work. And it does it via different programs that we have. And you can always go on the embo.org website to look at all the different programs. But the programs that I want to talk specifically today is about the EMBO fellowships. Now, I should tell you a little bit where our funding comes from, and also where, as you based in India, what you can apply for the EMBO fellowship program. And so the funding comes from EMBC countries, in part, which contribute money to the programs. We also have global partners where funding also comes from, and this is India, Chile, Singapore, and Taiwan. And so sort of this is the context that EMBO works under. Now, we have two programs at the EMBO Fellowship Program that I think are amazing for early career scientists. And I want to sort of just give you a brief insight into both of them, yeah? So we have the EMBO Postdoctoral Fellowships, which is a 2-year fellowships for postdocs with full social benefits if you do a postdoc within Europe. Outside, we give a stipend. And then we have EMBO Scientific Exchange Grants, which is to support international collaborations. And these are short-term research visits up to 3 months between countries to learn new techniques. And I said, I'll tell you about both of them. I'll tell you about success rate. The application process is slightly different. The eligibility criteria are different, but I'm hoping after this, after my presentation, that you get a bit of overview of what's going on. Yeah. So the EMBO Postdoctoral Fellowships is a program that was actually launched in 1966, so it has a long and rich tradition. And it was launched as one of the first international postdoctoral schemes at that time. And we getting in 2025, we had over 1,700 applications. We make about 150 awards per year, so the accept rate is less than 10%. Yeah, so it's a very, very competitive fellowship. What do we offer? We offer a 2-year contract. And a 2-year contract so this is within Europe, you get a 2-year contract. We make a contract with the institutes where you are working, and we pay the institute that then will pay you your salary as well as contributing to the social benefits within the country. We have a relocation allowance, but and I said, take a close look at our guideline for relocation. We have a fellows meeting for awarded fellows that after that, at the end of their 2-year fellowships, they come to Heidelberg and share their experiences and the science. And then we also, when you're awarded, you can participate in different courses that we offer, such as the lab leadership course. For the timing of the call, and so this is really very important. So what matters for eligibility criteria, and our guidelines, everything is spelled out very clearly in our guidelines that is available on our web. For the eligibility criteria, what is important is the day that you submit your full application. Yeah, we have evaluation cutoff dates, but they're not important for your eligibility criteria. But there it really matters. You can submit your application year round, and it's really important that you are aware of the eligibility criteria because we take them into consideration when you submit your complete application. Now, what does the evaluation cutoff means? Yeah, we have 2 cutoffs. All applications received before the 4th Friday in January, and it's 2 p.m. CET. They enter the spring call, and the decisions are made in June. All applications received before the 2nd Friday of July enter the autumn call, and the decisions is made in December. So last week, we had the committee meeting to make the decisions on everyone on the applications that were submitted in July. Yeah. Now, as I said, these are evaluation cutoffs. It's really important to recognize when your personal eligibility criteria are, and here it's when you submit your application. I should also say, so it's always the 4th Friday in January, the 2nd Friday in July. It's 2 p.m. CET or 2 p.m. CST, summertime. And we take these 2 p.m. cutoffs really extremely serious. And every time at our cutoff times, I always hear people, there's an internet, or the dog ate the application, or there's something happened with the internet at the institute. Yeah. Do not apply so close to the cutoff date that you are missing it. Yeah. If you apply after the cutoff date, you will go into the next round, but it's still, you get a 6 months delay in the evaluation of the application. Yeah. So timing of the call is really important. Now, what is required for eligibility? We need international mobility. And what we talk is not, when we talk about international mobility, nationality is not what important, but what is important is PhD mobility. Yeah. And so PhD mobility, where you did your PhD and where you did your postdoc. There is no age limit, but you have to submit your application less than 2 years after your PhD. Yeah, you can only be 6 months in the destination country in order to apply, and you need at least 1 research paper in an international peer-reviewed journal or a refereed preprint. Yeah, and as I said, all these eligibility criteria is you can see in our guidelines. What is not allowed is to return to the country of PhD where you did your PhD or to work with your PhD supervisor. We do offer some flexibility for parental leave or severe illness. And if you want, it's always good to check with the office before submitting your application. Yeah. So if you have any questions specifically for your case where you need, then send an email to the office. Now, for what do we mean in terms of international mobility? And so applications, so we have sort of 2 different criteria. Applications to work in an EMBC member state. So anyone, and this is regardless of nationality or country where the PhD was obtained, can apply for an EMBO postdoctoral fellowship to work in an EMBC member state, provided there's international mobility. What I mean by an EMBC member state, if you go to the guideline, you can take a look at who are all EMBC member states. Now, applications to work in an EMBC EMBO Global Partners, applicants are eligible if they move from, are nationals of, and have performed their PhD in an EMBC member state or an EMBC EMBO Global Partner. Yeah. If you want to go outside EMBC member states or global partners, there you have to be done your PhD in an EMBC member state. You have to be a national of an EMBC member state, and you have to move from an EMBC member state. Yeah. But as I said, all these eligibility requirements are all clearly spelled out in our guidelines. Now, how does the evaluation process work? It's a two-step process. All eligible applications are evaluated by the fellowship committee, which is made of EMBO members. And there's two steps. In the first step, the fellowship committee evaluates an abbreviated version of your application. Again, what they see in the step one is also spelled out in our guidelines. But what that means is after step one, that the top ranked 20 to 25% of applicants are selected for an interview. The remaining at this stage are rejected at this stage. Applicants that are then selected for an interview are interviewed by an EMBO member or young investigator. And then what goes then is that the fellowship committee then sees the interview report from the EMBO member or the young investigator. And then the whole application is evaluated and a funding decision is then made. Yeah. So remember, it's a two-step process. And it's really important for you to know exactly what the committee is evaluating in the first step. Yeah. Because they don't see your entire application, they see an abbreviated form. Again, our guidelines clearly spells it out what they see in the first part. So you have to make sure that your whole application is really well written, but to get to step two, know exactly what the committee will look at and what they have access to. Now, I have sort of just a few tips for writing an EMBO postdoctoral fellowship. And remember, it is a two-step process. Check our guidelines, what the committee will see on the first step. Hypothesis-driven research is always very good. Remember, you are applying for funding for 2 years. Sometimes we will get proposals that is basically a 5-year research proposal, yeah? And then it becomes questionable if it's really feasible, yeah? So hypothesis-driven research and it should be really for a 2-year research proposal. This is not a lab proposal. It is your specific proposal for the next 2 years of your research. Clearly state the goals of the proposal. Structure the proposal in logical, organized ways. It's always helpful to use subheadings. Describe the experiments in enough detail that the committee can evaluate it. Consider feasibility of the project. As I said, what I see often is projects that are just really would be 5 years for you to carry out, yeah? And then this gets lower priority because it's simply not feasible. Include a timeline. If there are risky aspects of your proposal, mention alternative approaches. This is always very helpful, yeah? And keep in mind that the proposals should be easy to read, also for non-experts, that they should appreciate your significance and novelty of the work that you're proposing. So, novelty and potential. Keep in mind, will the project enable you to establish yourself as a new group leader? Make clear what new skills you will learn in the host lab and how this will form the basis of your future independent research career. Be precise and explain why the project deserves to be funded. Try to think about what novelty you're bringing to your approach when you describe your proposal. And importantly, and this is one of the very specific things of the EMBO postdoctoral process, if your project is a direct continuation of your PhD, it will receive lower ranking. We want to fund projects that are different from what you did at your PhD level, yeah? This is sort of the aim of the EMBO postdoctoral fellowship. If your project is somewhat related to what you did during your PhD, make sure to stress why it is different enough from your PhD, yeah? Because this will be an important selection criteria. I'm now going to move to scientific exchange grants, which are different grants than the postdoctoral fellowships. As I said, for the postdoctoral fellowships, it's really after you're done with your PhD, and it's really your first postdoc experience or one of your first postdoc experiences. EMBO Scientific Exchange Grant is up for aims to promote new collaborations with other labs, and here it's for a 3 months maximum 3 months exchange, up to 3 months exchange. It's for research at all career stages. We require that you have 1 year of graduate level research experience to apply. We receive about 750 applications per year. The success rate is at the moment about 45%. We cover travel costs and daily subsistence rate. You can see this on our website, what it is for each country. It's from 1 week up to 3 months, and here there's no deadline, and it's a continuous evaluation. As I said, there's no age or career stage restriction. You have to have at least 1 year graduate level research experience. International mobility is required. And here we allow exchanges between EMBC countries and EMBC EMBO global partners. Very importantly, we want these exchange grants to set up new collaborations. So if there is an existing or a previous collaboration, like meaning a joint grant, a joint publication, it will be rejected. Yeah, so it is to set up new connections between labs. What is also very important for the scientific exchange grants is that you have to return back to the home lab for 6 months after the visit, because we want you to transfer the expertise and what you have learned back to the home lab. Yeah, so it's not a person. So of course we pay you as a person gets paid, but it's really to benefit your project and the home lab. Yeah, so it's not a career grant per se, but it has to be of benefit to the home lab. Yeah. What are we looking at? And so there has to be a biological significance. There should be a clear benefit for the home lab. The project that you're proposing has to build from the home lab's research. We want to establish new collaborations. And here it's really, feasibility is very important. Remember, it's 3 months that you're going to a different lab where you're going to learn a new skill or new tools. And so here it's really very important that it is very hypothesis and that your objectives are really clear, and that it's really clear why you need to do this project. And then we have to have good justification for the proposed host lab. As I said, all this is clearly, if you look on the website, you can find information about the scientific exchange grant, and the different eligibility criteria are spelled out. The grants are evaluated by the Scientific Exchange Grants Advisory Board, and this is how the evaluation is done. Now, for a scientific exchange grant, you have to describe, and there's a specific section on it, the key aim and objectives. Again, make sure the proposed research plan is feasible. Provide a research plan with a timeline for each objective. Clearly describe what is the benefit of the project for your project and for the home lab, and justify choice of the home lab. Yeah. Just before I finish, my time is almost up. Just sort of a last few tips for grant writing in general. Know your funder and know the aim of the scheme. All funders have slightly different aims, and so make sure you know it. Sometimes we get lots of we get lots of emails about eligibility criteria that is really spelled out in our guideline. Take your time to read the guidelines. Yeah. Know your audience. Yeah. Who are you trying to pitch it to? Be kind to your audience, meaning that avoid to use jargon. Try to make sure that your project is understandable. Explain why it's important why it's important what you're doing. Write clear and short sentences. Proofread correct typos. Just keep that in mind. For both the scientific exchange grant and the postdoctoral fellowships, you have to have reference letters. From the host lab where you're going to go to, you have to have a letter of support. All this takes time. It all comes via our website, so contact them early. Yeah. And what is always good, have your colleagues read your proposals and provide input. And this is very important. You would rather be criticized by your colleagues than being rejected because your proposal is not clear enough. And remember, it will take many drafts to get the proposal right. Be open to criticism and don't be afraid to reply. There'll always be a next time, and each time you learn something new. And I think that is from my side the end of it.
Thank you so much, Karin. I think thank you for keeping it very pragmatic. We have quite a few questions for you. But what we'll do is we'll go for Jyotsna's presentation, and then both of you can take questions together. Thanks, Karin. We can see your slides, Jyotsna. If you
am I audible?
You are audible.
Okay.
Fine and well. Yes. So you will have 10 minutes, Jyotsna.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I really thank India Biosciences and EMBO for organizing this webinar and providing useful information and insight about how to obtain and apply for these scientific exchange grants, as they are very, very beneficial. And I am being a recipient, I can tell you how, what are the procedures that I had followed and how I have been successful able to obtain this grant and utilize this for my research project during my PhD tenure. So I am a PhD student with Dr. Radha Chauhan's lab in BRIC National Center for Cell Science, and we have written this grant in collaboration with Dr. Kiran Padmanabhan and Dr. Fred from IGFL Lyon, France. So before moving on to what the grant was and the detailed work about what we have done, I will first would like to tell you a little bit about the path that lead to the success of getting a grant, which I have divided into 3 stages. The first and the very important stage is to get a collaborator and first discuss your research interest and have a similar interest where you and your collaborator can do or address new questions or new possibilities of the research that your collaborator is doing in the field. So first thing is to get in contact with the collaborator, try to understand their research and what techniques and methods that they are using, which you can utilize in your research project, and it would be significant for your project that you have to first figure out. Second thing is then grant writing. As Karen has said, grant writing also is a very it's a process that involves the involvement of both the parties, the collaborator as well as your own interest in the whatever research you are going to propose. And this grant writing you have to do way ahead of submitting the grant, because there are a lot of times when you have to discuss your research proposal with your collaborator and try understand the timelines in which they can provide you the accessibility and all the reagents and everything that you need to do your research there. So this is quite a process that you have to spend time on. And then once your grant is writing is finalized and you now know what work you are going to do there in that lab, then you go for the submission of the grant application. So these are the 3 steps that is very important. And after this grant writing and everything, how you go for the grant application process. So EMBO, it has provided all the information on their EMBO Scientific Exchange Grant website. The grant application is divided into 3 main parts. The first one is where you have to enter your own detail, what your research you are doing, what abstract of your research, your own profile and everything. The next part is your research proposal. Here, the research proposal is what you have, the grant that you have written, you have to put it. Again, as she has mentioned, that the grant should be very clear. It should signify the importance of the work that you are going to do. And also you can use these different subheadings or sub-objectives and clearly mention the timeline of your work. Each objective should have a timeline, and then this timeline you can also propose another alternative if your this work that you are proposing did not work, or due to some reasons you are not able to, what is the alternative. So these are the things that come in the research proposal. And not only you have to submit the research proposal, the host institution also has to submit their research proposal, and they have to align and amalgamate well that how what you are proposing is significant for them as well as for your institute, home institute. Apart from that, you also need to have 2 referees who are ready to give you a reference letter, and they should be contacted well before submitting the grant, so that they are also prepared to submit the reference letter on time, and it should not be delayed. As there are no deadlines for this grant, it is on a continuous evaluation. But once you submit the grant, from that time the grant review takes 2 to 3 months. So after, within 2 to 3 months, they will give you the report whether your grant is accepted or it is declined. Whatever it is, then after that, if it is accepted, then you have further procedures that you need to do, that you have to give a confirmation letter, then you have to provide the date and duration of your stay in the host country and all those things. And Karen and their team, they were continuously in contact with me for all these evaluations and everything. And whenever I had any problem, I wrote to them via email, and they really responded well, and they were always there to provide all the information regarding if I had any issue or problem with the submission or with the stay or with the reimbursement of the funds. Coming to what I have proposed and what we have done in the lab, this is a very brief one slide where I would like to try to put all the things together, but still if there are questions, you can ask me. So the lab, the host lab where I was going to carry out the work, they were interested to look at the NPC dynamics in the circadian cycle or in the circadian way. And what they have observed is NPC compositions changes during the day and the night time. This was their idea, and they wanted to look into the dynamics of the NPC or the nucleoporins. In our lab here in host institution Pregnancy CS, we were having the expertise in looking at the structure and functional plasticity of the inner ring nucleoporins, or the inner ring nucleoporins which are present in the NPC. So together we were developing certain cellular tools like your fluorophore conjugated nanobodies, and we wanted to check the expression of these proteins and how they are leading to the dynamic of the pore. Whereas the host institutions, they also were interested in the similar lines, and they wanted to study the changes in the positioning of the inner ring complexes proteins in a circadian way. So they had developed the super resolution STED microscopy techniques in their lab, analyzing the NPCs in vivo on purified mouse hepatocyte nuclei. And this was a very good opportunity for us to learn this very advanced super resolution technique, which is a STED microscopy, and apply it in our research also, to gain very insight into the pore dynamics of the NPC. So these two parameters we have taken together, and we tried to design an experiment and look into the NPC dynamics using the techniques that they are using and using the tools that we have developed in our lab. Apart from this, the contribution of this grant that I had get all together was that I get a chance to learn this new skills, which is STED microscopy. I get a hands-on experience with this technique, and I have learned this techniques, which is this advanced microscopy technique. Also, I gained a valuable networking opportunity. So going to a different country and working with different people that with a different mindset and different ideas, it was very, very impactful for me as well, because we were able to discuss and get novel ideas, and I get to learn a lot of new techniques, alternative techniques as well, that they were using in their labs. The lab meetings of them were also very, very helpful to me. Also, these experience and this training, it has really strengthened my research skills and contributed towards my professional growth, as well as while coming back to my home country, we also got a new microscope, which is a STED microscope, and now I can be able to help my colleagues and my lab mates as well to how to utilize this technique and use the microscope for their benefits in the research area. So it was really a very informational and very good exposure for me as a person, as well as for my professional development. And I would really like to acknowledge the principal investigators within whose mentorship I was able to perform various experiments and learned new techniques and skills. The host institution who was agreed to host me and allowed me to carry out all the research work that we have planned. And of course, all this would not have been possible because without the EMBO Scientific Exchange grant and the team members that were working continuously to help me out and get this grant, especially Karen and Elsie. Karen, the head fellowship program, and Elsie, the program officer, who were totally all the time, they were constantly in contact with me to, smooth disbursement of the funds and my travel to the new country and carrying out my research. So I would like to stop here and thank everyone for this. It is a collaborative effort.
Thank you so much, Jyotsna.
Thank you.
And also for staying right on time. So we had a few participants who had raised their hands. Would you raise your hands again, and then we can come to you? You can, and then unmute you. Okay, I see Sukirti. Okay, we'll just unmute Sukirti so that she can ask her question directly.
In the meanwhile, I can see Mayur already has raised his hand. Can I get
I have, so Sukirti, we have unmuted you. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. Hi, Sukirti.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes. Sukirti, please go ahead with your question. I think there is some technical issue. We'll come back to Sukirti in a while. Then in the
Let's
meanwhile,
go with it.
Mayur, Mayur?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you all for the wonderful session. My question was with respect to the postdoctoral eligibility. I wanted to ask in terms of publications, do you mean your accepted publications are mandatory or from your PhD, or if you have alternate first author publications which are not from your PhD, that also works?
Yes, it
Because
also.
because for
it-
personally me, like I have paper already on bioarchive which are in the review, and we don't know if it will fall with the January timeline.
Yeah. So what we require when you submit, we require a first author publication. And if it comes from your PhD work or from your previous work, that is okay. We just need one. A refereed preprint, just sort of to clarify what is, again, look at our guidelines. But a refereed preprint is a publication that is posted on bioarchive, yeah, but it has to be reviewed via a public platform like Review Commons, for example, and because it's one of those things that is often misunderstood is that that a bioarchive submission, if you have posted your article on a bioarchive submission, that this is sufficient as eligibility criteria. It is not. It has to be reviewed, and the review comments have to come from a platform, and it's something you cannot upload, you as a person yourself, yeah. But as I said, for refereed preprints, please look at our guidelines because it's very specific what this counts as, yeah. But regarding your specific question, we need just one first author publication, and where it comes from at your stage in your career is not important.
And my one more additional question I have, for example, I do apply and I am not selected for the second round. So can I reapply in the next term, or is there the number of number of times you can apply?
So you're eligible to reapply once, assuming that your eligibility criteria are still met on the second round of application. Yeah. And in order for you to reapply, there has to be a significant change in your CV and or your proposal. Yeah. So you can, of course, you can if you go to a different host lab, yeah, that's of course then it's a completely new proposal. But if you're proposing to go to the same lab, there has to be a change in your proposal. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
Sure. Sukirti, would you like to try once again? We are still unable to hear you, Sukirti. I'll then quickly go to Shantan Banerjee next.
Hello everyone. Thanks for the great session. So I have a question regarding the domain of research for like the scientific exchange grant. So I work in entirely computational domain like bioinformatics. So for such domain like end-to-end computational studies that involves molecular biology. And doesn't involve any wet lab techniques. How do we pitch the learning new skills component? And it would be also great if you could comment on the success rate of such applications. Yeah.
So I cannot comment on the specific success rate for each scientific discipline. I simply don't have the numbers. So you are eligible to apply also as long as there's really a clearly defined biological question with a computational approach, you are eligible to apply. However, what happens often is that it is not clear why you need to while there has to be a physical visit to the host lab, especially for computational projects, yeah? And sometimes it is not clear why this cannot be done via online meetings or why you have to be in person in that research environment, yeah? And so that's something, if you are applying with a very computational project, you have to justify why a physical visit is needed for you and why the learning of the tool cannot be done via an online setting, yeah? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. And before I move on, I just want to say to Yutsana, that was really a wonderful presentation. I really enjoyed listening to it. And I think you explained very well the different steps. And I also you explained very well why it was important for you to go and visit the particular lab and actually what you brought home to your home lab. Yeah. And this is what we want to do. Yeah. You went out, learned something new, and you brought it back to the home lab where you're teaching people. So it was really a wonderful presentation and exactly what we hope to do. Yeah. So that makes me very happy when I see that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amitabh, Banu, your question?
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Thank you both. I have a quick question regarding the EMBO postdoctoral fellowship. I have read in the guidelines that we can apply for a postdoctoral fellowship in the host institute even if you started, and it should be within 6 months.
Of
And
arriving to the
if-
host country, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
And in that case, if I'm working in an already EU-funded project, and I need to apply for a postdoctoral fellowship for extending my fellowship, in that case, should it be the same project or should I try a different project?
So meaning you are already in the host lab.
Yes.
Yes, and you've been there for less than 6 months, and you
Yes.
are funded via a funding there as well, yeah? So you really have to make sure that the project you apply for the EMBO fellowship is your project, yeah? And
Okay.
if there is, and so if there's overlapping in funding, just be very mindful. It should be really your project that you want to work on, and this project should really be there to develop your own career as well, yeah? And so it can be an extension of the project that you're already working on, which makes sense. Yeah, you're in the lab and you're working on a project. And so you can extend that project, yeah, but it should really be a unique proposal.
Okay, thank you. I have one more quick question. In that case, if I write the project proposal in the first place, it is online application. And in the online application, should it be necessary to describe the risk and the other stuffs, or just the research plan with timing? Or should I mention the risk of the project in the online application, or it will become, yeah.
I think it's always a good idea if you have a project where you know, for example, if aim number 2 is depending on aim number 1 working, yeah? So if
Okay.
aim number 1 doesn't work, there is no aim 2. And so I think
Yeah.
there it's always a very smart move to recognize that for aim 1, you probably should have some alternative proposals in case it doesn't work as planned, yeah?
Yes, makes sense.
Yes,
Thank you
yeah.
very much. That's all my question. Thank you.
Shrishta, let's limit each participant to one question because we have many questions coming in.
So Najib, you can go next. Okay.
Hello, yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible, Najib. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I am doing PhD researcher in India, but I am from Yemen. So, am I eligible for this fellowship?
So it depends on where you're applying to go. If you're intending to apply to go to an EMBC member state, and as I said, look at our guidelines, what the countries are of an EMBC member state, then you would be eligible to apply, or to another EMBO, EMBC global partner. Yeah, their nationality, it's not nationality what's important, but it's PhD country that's important. But take a look at our guideline, because we explain very clearly the international mobility requirements, and it's really important that you know exactly if what you are. But in general, it is the PhD country that matters. Yeah, but look at our guidelines.
Okay, thank you. Is the call is open now? Can I apply?
Yeah, if you look at our website, you'll see when the next evaluation cutoff is. Yeah.
Thank you so
Sona?
Yes, good afternoon, all of you. And the session is very informative. Thank you. And I'm a PhD scholar in India. So I want to know, like, to apply for scientific exchange program. So how many, like, is there any specific number of publications should be there, or like something like quality publication or quantity of publication should be there?
No, so there's no, with the postdoctoral fellowship, we require one first author publication. With the SEGs, we don't. But we still ask you to list. So you have to upload your CV. Yeah, there's nothing magical or difficult. I think the application process for the SEG or the scientific exchange grant was actually quite straightforward. Yeah.
And one more question, ma'am. Like, if my application rejected in the first time, so should I take like some month, or I can apply after like immediate session?
So you're talking for the short term, the scientific exchange grant, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
So there you can only apply once in a 12-month cycles, and it depends on when the decision was taken on your application. And any reapplication has to come 12 months after, and it has to be for a different project and for a different host lab. Yeah.
It means I should apply for different host lab. That's it, not
Yes.
different project.
It's a different project and different host lab, and you can apply once every 12 months. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jasprit, your question quickly.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations, Jyotsna, for having this fellowship, and thank you, Karin, for all the information you have shared. I just want to go with my quick question. I clearly remember you mentioned that the person who is applying for the fellowship should have at least 2 years of PhD. Since my PhD I completed in 2023, and currently I'm working as a scientist. So what are my chances if I apply for this postdoctoral fellowship?
So for the postdoctoral fellowship, you have to apply maximum 2 years after you're getting your PhD. Yeah. And so it's not minimum, it's maximum. Yeah. So that's one of the eligibility criteria, that you have to apply within 2 years of having received your PhD. And it's a strict, all our eligibility requirements are really very strict. Yeah. And so you cannot apply 2 years after you have received your PhD.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Amit?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So, ma'am, actually, my question is regarding, might be irrelevant for this discussion. So, my question is about some EMBO journals I am reading for a few days. So is there any special benefits of an Indian student to publish in a EMBO journal? So like sometimes the APC charges of those particular journals are sometimes very high.
So you're talking about the EMBO publications, yeah?
EMBO publications, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yes, so I unfortunately cannot answer these questions. I would direct them to the journal that you're interested in submitting, yeah? And you can find all, if you go to embo.org or go to the journal websites, then you can get more information on that, yeah?
Okay, okay, thank you.
Sure. Ruchika?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I had a question regarding the postdoctoral fellowship application. So I have submitted my PhD thesis, but I'm yet to defend it. So can I apply for it? And is a provisional degree okay to, avail the fellowship?
Yes, so you can apply for it. We do require that you have defended your PhD in case you're awarded and take up the grant. Yeah, so you have to get your PhD. You have to defend it. Yeah, but you can apply before receiving your PhD.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anindya?
Yeah, hi. Two questions. I know you limited it to one, but one is a really yes/no answer. So first of all, I have my own lab. So can I also apply as a PI for the exchange program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
great,
you can.
thanks.
Yeah.
And the second question is, you mentioned about the EMBO labs, but can I, for example, also apply for a host lab, which is part of the associate member? So for example, can I put a lab in Singapore as a host lab?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that was quick.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Himaja, if you can ask a question.
Yeah, my question is already clarified. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
So, Ishani?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the excellent informative webinar. I have a specific question on the EMBO postdoctoral fellowship. I have done my PhD in RNA biology and I'm presently in a host lab already, which is less than 6 months.
Apologies, Ishani. If you could be slightly louder because we are not able to hear you clearly.
Okay. Yeah, so I have done my PhD in RNA biology and I'm presently in the host lab and I have looked at the guidelines, but I have a collaborative postdoc position where my primary supervisor is working on metabolism while my collaborator is working on RNA biology, and I have done my PhD in RNA biology. So can I apply for the fellowship? Because in the fellowship, there is a provision to mention only one primary supervisor. And I was going through the forms. It is written that 3 key publications of the host in the area of proposed research and the motivation of it. So my primary supervisor doesn't align with my PhD RNA biology work. So can I apply? And if that I would work as a collaboration, so where can I mention in my application process?
So for the postdoctoral fellowship, you have to have one primary host lab, yeah, and this is where this host lab is located. Is also the institute where we will pay your salary to, yeah. It's not possible to apply to 2 host labs at the same time, so you have to have one. Now, of course, that also it doesn't mean that you cannot collaborate with other people, yeah. I presume so you said you did your PhD in RNA biology and that your primary host lab is a metabolism lab. Is that correct?
Right. And they have hired me because of the RNA biology skill.
Exactly. So I guess the expertise, you will apply your RNA biology expertise on the metabolism aspect, yeah?
Exactly.
And so I guess in that context, it's the metabolism aspect that is important to highlight in the publication record, yeah, because this is a new thing that you're doing, yeah. And so as I said, you can have one primary host. You can collaborate with other people. That's not up to us to manage or to deal with, but one host, and the publications that the host should mention should be relevant to your project, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much. And another thing, can I mention it in my application process that I would have a collaboration? Can I mention that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Priyanka?
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for a beautiful presentation. I just wanted to ask you, I'm currently pursuing my PhD. Again, I think one of the people who had asked the question also has not completed the PhD. I'm in the same stage. I wanted to ask you if I can put my research topic. Can you, or is there a provision of guidance where, in which host institute I can apply for related to the project? Is it possible?
I'm not so sure I fully understood your question. So what is your specific? Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm currently working on microRNAs, and since I am an orthodontist, a dental specialist, so there are the collaborations between the dentist and the biology experts are not too many. So if I put my research project or I disclose my research project, is it possible that there can be some guidance related to the host institutes where the work is going on?
You mean that the fellowship office gives you
Yes.
advice on where to apply?
Yes. Is it possible?
Yeah. No.
No.
So this
Oh.
is really your obligation to find both for the short-term grants and for the postdoctoral fellowship. You're the one who has to find the host lab that has to match what you want to do, yeah?
Okay.
And we unfortunately cannot help you in that, yeah?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Nitin?
Yeah, I have one question regarding to the conferences. Conferences in India, can we, if we are applying through Indian funding agency, so parallelly, can we arrange funding from EMBO if it is focused on the key areas which EMBO is also interested in, like tuberculosis or AMR?
Are you asking
EMBO
if we are
yeah.
providing funding from via the short-term grants for to attend a conference? Is that your question?
Yeah.
No. So the funding from the short-term grants is not to attend conferences. We don't do that. It's really
Not
to do a
attend,
research.
not to attend, but to conduct a conference or to have a conference there in India.
No, we don't. The EMBO Fellowship Program does not provide funding for conferences. Yeah. Now that we have, EMBO has courses and workshops that they provide funding for, and I would suggest that you take a look at the website and see how that process works. Yeah.
Okay.
But not via the fellowship program.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Survey?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is related to EMBO Scientific Exchange Program. So I have a question that what do you expect in the research proposal which is to be submitted from the host laboratory?
So you mean what the host supervisor should submit?
Yes. And
Yes.
what should they write about? Like they have to address regarding the feasibility of the project or for the future collaboration or what?
So everything that is really important. And so the way it works is that when you go to set up your application, you activate as Yutsana really nicely explained, you activate your 2 letters of recommendations that you need. And it's done via an email. And then you activate your host supervisor. And then the host supervisor gets insight into what he or she has to fill out in the supervising form. So it is how was the project discussed, or how did the project initiate? There's a section of the research going on in the host lab, and there's a section on why the host supervisor would like to set up this collaboration. Yeah. And so then you activate this email, and then the host supervisor will send the letter back to us via the system. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. I
Yep.
got your answer.
Perfect.
All right. So since we don't have hands anymore raised up, we'll quickly go through the question answer box and the chat and some questions also from the registration sheet. But a quick question from Anjali who asked that for the EMBO postdoctoral fellowship, can an applicant apply for multiple projects with different host institute in the same call?
No, one application.
All right. So I think that answers her question. And Prasenjit Jina has asked that they tried to submit this EMBO Scientific Exchange grant, but due to the PhilISA certificate requirement, they kind of pulled themselves out. So in India, it is difficult to get the certificate itself. Is there any alternative to this? Because the proposal, then they would be able to submit that.
So what certificate is that again?
PhilISA, FELESA is what they have mentioned in the question and answer box.
I don't really know anything about. So from our perspective, there is no specific certificate needed.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a requirement from India specifically, but from our side, there's no certificate needed to apply.
All right.
Yotsana, do you know something about this? Did you have to have a certain certificate to?
No.
No, exactly. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you. And then one of the other questions is that can the references for scientific exchange grant be from the same institute?
That what? Can
the references for the exchange
Yes.
grant be from
So
the same
one
institute?
has, so yes, it can. So one has to come from your the PI of your lab, and it can come from the same institute. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Then also, are there any eligibility age limits, particularly for the scientific exchange grant and the postdoctoral fellowship? Because this is a question we've received most of them in the registration questions also.
No, so there is no age limit, and for the postdoctoral fellowship, it's really the 2-year post PhD eligibility criteria and 6 months in the host country. Yeah.
All right. Shivli, do you have specific any questions from the chat? I can
I
otherwise.
have DM'd you a question. The questions about eligibility criteria have been responded to a lot. So there are some other questions I've DM'd you.
Sure, thank you. I'll just take a look at them quickly. So, one is that will we get a feedback for improving the application in case we don't get shortlisted for the postdoc application process, or is it a blind run of improvements?
No, so there is no feedback provided for the postdoctoral fellowships. As I said, we get over 1,700 applications per year, and it's simply not feasible to give feedback. Yeah. If you are rejected, what I can tell you is how you ranked. Just a simple ranking, but that's what we can provide. Yeah.
Okay. For the scientific exchange grant, does EMBO also include the family or dependent allowance too?
No. So it is a travel allowance, and there is allowance for the applicant, but there's no family allowance.
Okay. So I think I'll just take one quick look at the other questions. There are any other different questions not regarding. Okay. Yeah. So will holding the national PhD fellowship affect the amount of funding provided by the scientific exchange grant?
No, it doesn't. If what we do ask, and you have to disclose in case you got funding from another funding source for the same research visit, you have to disclose it to you. If part of your salary that you're getting from the institute, there is a travel allowance for you to visit other places, or there is subsistence if you go to visit, you have to disclose it as well. Yeah. So if you get funding that is specific to the research visit, you have to disclose it.
All right. So another question is that can one apply again after getting one grant, or is there any specific duration to do so?
So for short-term grants, you can reapply as much as you like. As I said, the only rule is once every 12 months, and it has to be the next proposal has to be that you apply, regardless if you're awarded or not. It has to be to a different host lab and has to be for a different project. Yeah.
All right. And can the short-term fellowship for PhD students be extended after the 90 days time period?
So you can go up to maximum of 6 months, but the first 3 months has to be funded by EMBO. Yeah. And then you can stay an additional 3 months. But after your visit, you immediately have to, but you can stay maximum 6 months. And we don't provide funding for the extra 3 months. And after this visit, you have to go immediately back to your home lab in order to transfer the knowledge.
All right. Does UK get included in the scientific exchange grant? for this case?
Yes. So it's an EMBC member state, UK. And as I said, if you look at our guidelines, you will see the EMBC member states and the global partners clearly.
Okay. And I think one of the common questions, again, slightly, but beyond the stated eligibility criteria, what are the most common hidden weaknesses or pitfalls you've seen in the applications that have led them to getting rejected, especially from India, if we are to consider?
So I can't really, I'm not so sure there's any country-specific reasons. But for the short-term grants, what often happens is that the project is just way too ambitious for a 3-month stay. It's like you want to cure cancer. And so remember, it's a 3-month visit, and you have to justify why do you need to do it and how does that benefit your project and how does it benefit the home lab, yeah? And it has to be a project that gives impact, yeah? So if you want to learn how to do, and there has to be a reason for it. So sometimes it's how to learn to do PCR and somebody wants to go to another country. And there we go, well, there's enough labs in your home country where you can learn basic cell biology techniques, yeah? So there has to be a really specific reason why an international research visit is needed, yeah? And that the reason that it would be nice to do is not sufficient. Yeah, there has to be a scientific reason for it. Yeah, so justify very well why you need to go. And especially with computational approaches, it is really important you justify why an in-person research visit is important.
Sure, those were very, very helpful answers, and I hope the attendees who were here and also who had sent up their questions during the registration and those who are watching us on the live stream of the webinar also have most of their questions addressed. And I'd call Shuli to close the session formally now that we're on time.
Thank you, Shrestha. Thank you very much, Kareen, Jyotsna, for being very generous with your time and then with the barrage of questions that we had. To the participants, we tried and took as many questions as possible, but I would really urge you to look at EMBO's website for they have detailed eligibility requirements. What we are also going to do is provide the complete link to this meeting on our YouTube channel. So feel free to access them. We will also have Jyotsna's portion available as a short snippet video so that you can, look for very practical advice, both for Karan also. Hope this was helpful for you. I see there are more hands raised, but we will need to end the session right now. Thank you very much, Kareen, Jyotsna. Thank you, participants.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us. Yes. Thank you, Karen, for all your
Thank
support.
you. Nice. So.